Hey, what's good, everybody? Yeah, how you guys doing tonight? Edelgado, the caramel conservative, coming at you here. Wednesday night, man. I'll be checking back and forth here on social media as we go through tonight's little program. Apparently, a lot of things are going on still. If you guys haven't heard or you're living under a rock, apparently there was an election in the United States of America last night. And apparently, it was a pretty big one. And it's kind of funny because I don't know about you guys, but I am drained. I actually had went to bed last night, probably about 1 o'clock last night, and then I ended up waking up at 5 a.m. It was just it was nuts, as you know, any election that you watch, especially on the national level, uh, presidential in particular, you're going to be sitting up watching the tallies, listening to the talking heads, all that other stuff. And, last night was no different in that respect, but it was certainly very contentious. A lot of people made predictions, many people were wrong. And we are now looking at a very hotly debated presidential election. Now, before I go any further, let me put it to you guys like this. Election day is come and gone. Yes, the election has not been decided. Both sides are claiming victory. There are going to be court filings. They've already started. There's potential for a recount. I know in Wisconsin, Arizona may well flip. There's so much going on. But let's kind of decompress here for a moment. Let's debrief together. And we can do a quick little analysis and then kind of talk about how we're feeling. Because as I'm watching myself in the camera right now, I look exhausted. Now, obviously, when you're running on 4 hours of sleep, you're going to be tired. We know that. I mean, I'm just kind of sitting back here in the chair. Normally, I'm kind of all sitting up, and I may well still do that. Now, before I go any further, if you guys can do me a huge favor, take a look down at the links below in the description. We've got all the stuff here, and I'm not even sure. I think I might have put an article in there. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I guess it really doesn't matter. But if you take a look at the description, I guess I'll start with this here because normally I tell you to hit the like button, share, subscribe, all that other good stuff. But um, one of the things that we are clearly seeing today, and we've seen this here over the last week in particular. You can go back over the last 6 to 12 months and you can see people that have been shadow banned. You can see people that have been outright banned. You had like Laura Loomer, who unfortunately lost her election bid, who was just essentially deplatformed from like almost everything in existence. There's an importance right now in recognizing that big tech like Twitter, Facebook, Google, all that other stuff, they will shut you down. I run the risk of it. You run the risk of it. All of us run the risk of it. I know a bunch of folks on Facebook that have they've lost their profiles, gone, kaput, done. Some of them have come back. Others have gone to other places. It is very important that we start looking at alternative technology. And when I say alternative tech, I'm talking about things like Parler, Rumble, Library TV, BitChute, Minds. I've got my information down below there. All that's there. So if you guys be smart about this, I'm not telling you guys to leave Facebook, don't leave Twitter, don't leave YouTube, don't leave Instagram. Double down on what it is that you're doing there. But also make sure you're going over to these alt platforms here. And what you want to do is get your profiles up there, get stuff going, share content like this, and make sure that you are sharing out not only just content from myself, but other content creators, other news, news outlets. And when I say news outlets, I'm not talking about the legacy media. I'm talking about individuals like myself that are kind of giving you a breakdown of what is happening as we perceive it in our analysis. Because one of the things when you take a look at the mainstream media, when you look at the legacy media, They're trying to tell you what to think. We saw that last night in the election with the way that they were calling states, with the way that they kept, if you notice, Biden, he might have lost the lead a little bit, but he was always ahead, you know. And if you look at the voter suppression that was coming out from the mainstream media, that was real. But for content creators like myself and other folks here, your Tim Pools, your Joe Rogans, other stuff like that, we're not telling you what to think. We're just throwing out our opinions. We're breaking down a particular topic. We'll tell you if we think it's right or wrong, but we welcome you to kind of agree, disagree, share your thoughts on the matter. But in order to have these conversations, we have to have it in free and open platforms. And we are not seeing that in your Facebook, your Twitters, your YouTubes. It's just not there. So I encourage you guys to make sure you go to those platforms. And like I said, sign up, get yourself a podcast, get yourself a video cast, do whatever. But make sure that you're subscribing to everybody. You're sharing out your information. And of course, you're always smashing that like button here. Now I want to take a look here at something. Okay. All right, good. We got that going there. So yeah, guys, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, all that other good stuff. Hit the notification bell. You know the drill. So what do you guys think there? Comments, of course, always welcome on our programs, because without you guys, what's the purpose of being here, right? One of the things that I've noticed here over the last 12 hours, I've let 12, 14 hours since I've been awake, clearly what we're seeing is voter fraud in action. Joe Biden said this here not too long ago, that, and it was chalked up as a gaffe, that this was going to be the largest voter fraud operation. I don't think that was a gaffe. He was telling you what was happening. And I know a lot of people are feeling disheartened right now. You're feeling like if somehow, the world is going to end. Now, granted, the folks on the right aren't acting anything like the folks on the left were acting back in 2016. We're not seeing any meltdown. We're not seeing anybody crying. We're not seeing anybody losing their damn minds. Although I do wonder if that's going to happen at some point. But I think that what we're seeing here is a lot of people realizing that we are losing our country. And I understand that. I truly do. And the potential for Joe Biden to become president is very high, especially if you look at the polls. But if nothing else, at 2016 and now 2020, because 2020, the pollsters got it wrong. Like, I'll be the first one to tell you I got it wrong to a certain extent, because I'm thinking that we're going to end up winning the House. We're going to have a Republican supermajority in the Senate and Donald Trump 4 more years. Well, clearly we didn't win the House, but we are picking up seats. Excuse me. Ooh, hiccups. Clearly we are picking up seats there. We're not losing the Senate, although Democrats are pushing to try to make that happen with their mail-in voting scheme and everything else. And there is still the potential here for President Trump to become president once again for another term. And a lot of people they're nervous. The anxiety is real. And like I said, having been through all this right now, yesterday I felt that anxiety. Yesterday, as I'm watching everything going on, and of course, like I said, running on 4 hours of sleep, yeah, I'm tired. I'm emotionally drained. And I know a lot of people I talked to today, they're in that same category. They're just like, oh, I bet you half of America, if not the majority of people, they're going to bed early tonight. Got to get them Z's and kind of wake up and fight tomorrow. But I want to give you guys a message of hope. And this is important here, because while people may think that Biden's going to win, I'm here to tell you it isn't over. It isn't over by a long shot. It ain't over yet until Rosie O'Donnell sings. We still got a long way to go. It's like I said, you've got court challenges that are happening. You've got states that are going to be flipping back and forth. Looks like they're going to be pulling Arizona because Arizona, there was some kind of tabulation error. They thought they had 98% of the vote, but in reality it was something like 83, 85%. So in all likelihood, Arizona may well flip. Trump only needs Arizona and Pennsylvania in order to get plus 270. But then you have the issue going on with attorney generals from and various secretaries of state saying they're not going to certify certain things. And then, of course, the massive voter fraud. Now, these are going to be issues, and it will be tough. And if you glue yourself to your television sets, if you glue yourself to the internet, and you don't break away enough to decompress, to get a lot of this stuff out of your head, you're going to get consumed with it. You will be depressed. You will be just feeling like absolute garbage. And I'm telling you right now, pay attention, yes, but don't let it consume you. Okay. Look what one day just the election did with so many people. And I think this is true on the left and the right. I have no doubt in my mind. It is very true. Because I bet them folks are tired. I know I'm tired. I know a lot of folks I've talked to are tired. And I'm pretty damn sure you guys are tired. But what I also know too is that going forward, because that was the other question, what do we do going forward, assuming Biden wins? And I think the answer is going to be the same whether Biden wins or Trump wins. I honestly believe that regardless of who wins the presidential election of 2020, there will be negatives on both sides. There will definitely be more positives if Trump wins. Will there be any positives if Biden wins? I have a hard time seeing that. But I think we need to look at 2020. I think we need to look at the last 4 years, and we need to take a look and reflect upon the things that need to be done within the Republican Party, within the conservative movement, the people that have come into the conservative movement, and then we need to learn from the mistakes that we have made and better ourselves on that. Because I believe it is at this particular point that today, November 4th, 2020, this is when the hard work begins. You know, the presidential election, the courts and everything, they're going to take care of themselves. That's going to play out the way that it has to play out. And it's going to be a long and arduous process. We will probably won't know anything until December. I'm sure Nancy Pelosi is sitting over there, you know, just kind of chomping at the bit, hoping to become president, interim president come January 21. I think she's going to be disappointed. I could be wrong, but I do indeed think she will be disappointed. What we need to do, regardless of what state you're in, and I'll use the model of Wisconsin myself here, because I believe this is what we all need to do. Anybody who's politically connected, anybody who has a voice, any type of influence, I believe that what we need to do at this particular point is we need to start using the mindset that all politics is local. Now, when I say local, you can be local in your town, your city, your community, your county, your state. But in particular, as it relates to your state, we need to start networking with one another. We need to start working on this better. We need to hold our state and county GOP officials, Trump victory, and everyone else accountable, especially for those groups that aren't doing anything in the suburban and rural communities that they have so taken for granted over the last 4 years, assuming that, you know, hey, this is a lock and we don't need to worry about that. Because I got to tell you, you got a lot to worry about. I'm seeing it firsthand every day. But I think we need to double down on bettering ourselves and learning how to fight in a way that you're going to fight to win. This idea that, well, I got to be above the fray. Well, clearly that hasn't worked out. It hasn't worked out for decades. And yet we're still going to continue to do the same nonsense over and over and over again. No, I think we need to know how to fight, and we need to know how to do it tactfully, and we need to know how to do it ruthlessly. But at the same time, be able to present it in such a way that will galvanize people. Okay. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that going into the future. But I think ultimately, and I wrote this on Facebook last night, and I think the best way of putting it is this: you need to work on your state and working with other people within your state to literally turn that state so red politically that when people look at your state, they won't see any other color on the spectrum. All they will see is a red state. And that's a good thing. Now, I don't need, nor do I want people to be walking, doing everything in lockstep. I don't think we need to have the same mentality. We can disagree on a number of issues. But at the core of conservatism, this is really where we need to be, and we need to double down on that. And we need to make the appeal to the public. And we have to do it in the way that hasn't been done before in the past. Because clearly the way that it has been done in the past, it hasn't worked. So those are just some of my thoughts here, just as I'm thinking about debriefing, what comes next, what to do. And like I said, I encourage you guys to make sure you check out all those alternate platforms, that those platforms that aren't controlled by the big tech industries, by big tech media. Make sure you check all those joints out. I think it's very important that you do that. And like I said, share out all this content here from all the various creators out there, all your favorite folks there, because I'm telling you, as time marches on and the suppression and the censoring that's happening on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, you name it, as that becomes more and more prevalent, the need for other platforms is going to increase exponentially. So help these folks out. And like I said, like, share, subscribe, all that other good stuff. I'm going to go get me some rest. I'm actually going to enjoy my favorite cocktail here and have a drink and kick back, relax, and enjoy. So I'm sure I'll watch a little bit of news, but hopefully with any luck, I might be able to get some gaming in at the same time. So on that note, I want to thank you guys all here for joining tonight, watching on the replay, all that goodness. Good night. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. I'm sure I'll check in later this week. I'm out.